Hey everybody, welcome back into the Parker and the Man page at yournews.com. We're starting another big week, this first full week of October 2009, and what a Sunday, huh? Did you have both eyes going? Did you have both televisions? Did you have P&P and picture-in-picture and all that? Did you DVR? Did you TiVo? What'd you do to watch both at the same time? The Lions playing the Bears in Chicago, and of course the Tigers playing game number 162, the final game of the regular season against the Chicago White Sox for the opportunity, at least at the time we thought maybe the opportunity to actually win the American League Central Division outright, their first division championship in 22 years, 1987, the last time that happened. I remember the October day when Frank Tanana beat the Toronto Blue Jays in 87, 1-0 to win the East. Thank you, Manny Lee, very much. As it turns out, as you saw, as it all unfolded as the day went along, back and forth we went with the remote. The Lions ended up getting drilled in Chicago after being tied at halftime 21-all and ended up losing by, they doubled them up, the Bears did, 48-24. And the Tigers ended up beating the White Sox, the two Chicago teams playing the two Detroit teams, 5-3. Justin Verlander was terrific until that eighth inning when he gave up 3 runs, but it didn't matter. Fernando Rodney came on and closed it out, but Minnesota did their job as well against Kansas City, winning 13-4. So, one game, winner take all, Tuesday at the Metrodome. Twins get that game at home because of the fact they had a better head-to-head record against the Tigers in the 2009 season. It used to be a coin flip, but they changed that rule. Probably for the better. Might as well get something if you're going to play teams head-to-head as much as the divisional teams do. So there you go. Tuesday playoff. Rick Porcello, 20 years old. In fact, the last time the Tigers won a division, Rick Porcello was, I think, 15 months away from being born. That's how long ago it was, and Porcello's only 20, and he will get the start on Tuesday against Minnesota's Scott Baker, who has been a bit of a Tiger killer in his last couple of years with Minnesota. So there it was. What a Sunday, huh? You watched the Bears and Lions from Soldier Field in Chicago. You watched the Tigers and the White Sox from Comerica Park. And you're saying, got a good one out of the Tigers. Although, they had a 7-game lead, and, they blew it. They have to play this one-game playoff, and if they lose that, goes down as a choke job, because when you're up 7 in the final month of the season, you would think you could close it out and go to the postseason. And of course, for the Tigers, postseason first time since 2006. So it wasn't that long ago. We remember that, but they went as the wild card. That year, they lost in the final day the division title. This one, at least, they still have a chance to win the division title. Tuesday, by the way, not Monday, because of the Monday Night Football game with the Vikings playing at home. Brett Favre against the Green Bay Packers, his old team. So check that out in the column. I kind of did a thing kind of cool where I was writing about both at the same time, back and forth we go, kind of as we watched those games here in Detroit. That's how I wrote about it. And the other stuff, the Mannings on Sunday, Eli and Peyton. Look at the numbers. They're both 4-0. Ridiculous. They're sick. They're sick. Dan Miller, you're sick. Remember Dan Miller said that about Calvin Johnson. Should say that about the Manning brothers. Chad Henne's debut as a starter, quarterback in Miami. Chad Pennington out for the year. Chad Henne in for the University of Michigan. Oh, by the way, Michigan, here's the Celebriduck for you. A little Spartan Celebriduck, huh? Got my first shot at that in with mentioning Chad Henne, the University of Michigan, but did a nice job for the Miami Dolphins. Just didn't make any mistakes. Didn't have to do very much. Wasn't asked to do much, and he didn't have to. And the Dolphins got a victory. How about the Denver Broncos at 4-0? Josh McDaniels, their head coach, 33 years old. You know where he got his start? Let me show you where he got his start. Celebriduck, Michigan State, 1999, coaching for Nick Saban as a graduate assistant. He's the head coach of the Broncos. They had a lot of controversy about his coming there. He, made a lot of people angry early by getting rid of Jay Cutler to Chicago for Kyle Orton. And yet they're 4-0, along with the Colts, the Giants, the Saints, and maybe Minnesota if they can win their game. The 0-4 teams, how about Tennessee? Jim Schwartz leaves to take over the Lions, and look what happens. Jim Schwartz's defense, not the same defense now in Tennessee with Chuck Cecil as coordinator. So the Titans are 0-4, along with the Rams, Bucks, Kansas City, and Cleveland, but St. Louis, particularly bad. The Rams are going to play the Lions on the 1st of November. That's the clash of losers. And St. Louis couldn't have been worse. They're just terrible. Kyle Bowler's quarterback rating yesterday was 48.6. Awful. Bucks, Kansas City, Cleveland, terrible teams. And Michigan falls out of the poll. Thank you very much. Here's the Celebriduck again. Quack, quack, quack. Falls out of the poll thanks to the Spartans, the overtime victory in East Lansing. Michigan was 22nd in the country, gone and out from the top 25 poll. Big Ten, very little respect. Penn State, Iowa, Ohio State, the only 3 teams in the top 25. All 3 were victors, and none of them moved. at all. They didn't go anywhere up. Yet Miami moves up, Cincinnati moves up, a lot of teams. Auburn comes in at number 17. Wasn't even in the poll. And they move right into number 17. So that's what happens. That's a lack of respect for the Big Ten and for the University of Michigan. An overtime loss on the road, and they drop out of the poll. That's what they think of Michigan. So there you go. Read about the Tigers and the Lions. The numbers are in there too. Calvin Johnson had a great day, but the Lions special teams, terrible. Stan Kwan, you wear the dunce hat for the week. After that special teams effort, Jim Schwartz was all over that. How bad they were in the second half, too. Just terrible football. And the Lions reverted back. By the way, the road losing streak, 14 straight games now. You're scoring at home. 14 straight on the road. Last road win was Soldier Field in Chicago, 2007. The Mannings, Chad Henne, the 0-4 teams, the 4-0 teams in the NFL, and Michigan falling out of the poll. It's all there for you on the Parker and the Man page, my column, yournews.com. Have a great week, and navigate early and often, people, as you always know.